All right, atheist, I have to ask you, like, should this guy be the guy organizing conventions, conferences, being the money guy for our movement? Is this guy the guy that should be doing this?
Unfortunately, with me and you and most atheists, we study like 100 different thousand religions, and we say, well, that one's not that one, that one's not that one. And if you're a Sunni, then you can't be a theist. If you're a theist, you can't be a Judaist. If you can't be a Judaist, then you can't be a Christian. There's so many things that, and
What is up, you heathens and demons, you sinners and saints, you beautiful, blasphemous people? Welcome back to A Raging Atheist. I'm your boy Nakasuchi, and today we're going to be looking at Lance Gregorchuck. His last name is odd. His last name is Ukrainian, so I'm probably butchering it. But we're going to be looking at Lance. He was on David Worley's podcast. He said a lot of outrageous shit, and I'm gonna rage. Alright, so if you guys haven't heard or seen what we're gonna be covering today, buckle up, because this atheist is an atheist that is really detestable, in my opinion. That said some really detestable shit, attacked a person that I like, David Worley, on David Worley's own podcast, said a lot of shit about consent that we need to address, and I have to ask the question, like, atheist, is this the guy we want backing our conventions, organizing our conventions, being part of the money behind our movement? Because I don't want this dude anywhere near me.
How old are you? 30?
26.
26. Okay, so let me explain how life works.
All right, that dude right there, that Lance right there, before he says any of the awful shit he's gonna say, like this whole interview, he said really odd shit. I think he realizes it wasn't going well for him. But that guy right there, who's gonna look at a young up-and-coming YouTuber, a young atheist, and demean him for only being 26 years old, and try to put himself above him. Like, motherfucker, you are not better than me. I don't know who the hell you think you are that you can come in here on my channel and give me life advice. That shit would not happen. You know, and David is a lot nicer than I am. You know, but David is an interviewer, and an interviewer has to keep calm. You know, I would have probably lost my shit right there. Like, dude, who the hell are you to try to come in here and try to be above me, especially after the craziness you've been spitting for the last 40 minutes. But, you know, we're not even close to the bad part, but I did want to cover, like just kind of how this Lance guy is.
This is what I believe. Between 0 and 30, your whole thing is like, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. I want to be famous. I want everybody to know me by the time I'm 30. So every single person's like, okay, by the time I'm 30, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be do this.
All right, so this rich dude here is coming in, and he's going to try to, you know, assume what everybody thinks. You know, if you're between 20 and 30, you're trying to become a millionaire. You want to be rich. You want to be famous. And that's just not the truth. You are speaking for an entire world about your personal belief systems, about where you were between your 20s and 30s, and it's just not true of other people. You know, like, take me for instance. Between my 20s and 30s, I was trying to do something most people weren't. I was trying to make a career out of spoken word poetry, writing books, but I didn't really ever care if I got famous or made a lot of money about it. I just wanted to write good shit. I often went around in that period saying, I'll probably never really become famous, but it isn't about that. You know, and I often said that, you know, more than likely, like, if I ever got famous, it would be like after I'm dead, somebody would find all of my shit one day and they'd be just blown the fuck away and have to share it with the world. You know, I often used to say stuff like that back in my 20s and 30s. In my 20s, all I wanted to do was fucking party. All I wanted to do was hook up. All I wanted to do was have fun.
And then you hit 30. And you didn't hit it. And so then you think, okay, my legacy now is 30 to 40. 30 to 40 is building my company, building my image, building my reputation. Look, I didn't make the millionaire thing because every guy wants, yeah, I'm a millionaire by the time I'm 30, but I didn't do it. So 30 to 40, you're like, okay, now it's I want to build what I am, who people respect me for.
And he just keeps going on with this shit, on and on and on, trying to tell David how David feels, trying to imply that the rest of the world feels how this dude feels, and it's just not true. And it makes you look ridiculous. And I have to ask again, like, should this guy be organizing conventions, be the money behind conventions, like Richard Dawkins, Laurence Krauss? Like, do you want to be associated with this guy? Let's see as we get farther into it if this is the type of person you want speaking for you or anybody else. Take away atheist out of it. I would not want this Lance dude speaking for Christians. This dude is not good at this.
But you might want to stop this thing because of what I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you the truth right now. You have not... You're just being like a run-of-the-mill kind of, everybody asked me that same question.
All right, so this whole interview probably didn't go quite as well as Lance wanted it to, and at this point of the interview, he's realizing, hey, I haven't really made myself look good. I haven't made this conference look good, this convention that he's holding in the UK in Brighton on April 4th and 5th. It's like I probably haven't done too much justice for this because I've been talking like a lot of stupid shit, and David was just cool and calm the whole time. David was just who David is. It's what I really like about David. There's not much rage in David. David is like the opposite of me, and that's great. I love that. Very cool, very calm, very collected, and ask good questions. But here, this guy is just going to start attacking David Worley for no apparent reason at all because he hasn't done too well in this interview.
But you haven't challenged our thinking. You haven't challenged what we're thinking. You haven't challenged a Dawkins. You haven't challenged, like, you have your kind of like run-of-the-mill, I'm kind of happy, things are good, and maybe I should ask this question. But you haven't asked any hard questions.
All right, so out of nowhere, this dude just attacks David, says, hey, you're not asking any good questions, dude. I've complimented you through this entire thing. I've invited you to my conference through this entire thing. I've offered to throw celebrities at you through this entire thing. But you're not asking very good questions. Not at all. Even though the same guy said this earlier in the interview.
It's such a majorly tough question.
It's pretty bad that you can't even remember 20 minutes earlier in the same interview about how you complained the question was tough, and then you go on this tirade about how David isn't asking you any tough questions. Maybe some memory loss, dog? I don't know. You tell me. You just tell me.
Like why and what and if you... I think that what we need in our community, what you need in is to ask honest questions and get really hardcore answers.
Like the funniest thing about this is like he describes what these hard questions would be. Like asking Dawkins, like, are you an atheist? Like, that's a hard question for Dawkins to answer. Like, Dawkins probably doesn't answer that question 1,000 fucking times a day. Like, but just, the thing that I take more offense to this here is he's coming on David's show and insulting David because he sucked, because Lance sucked, and he knew it. If you watch the whole interview, it was all over the place. He said some pretty ridiculous shit, and he knew it didn't go well for him. So he's got to attack David, who's just sitting there being chill and letting him do what he does, which is, be stupid, I guess. Which is to be like just insulting and degrading and I'm better than you, I'm an elitist, I'm the money behind the madness, right? You better fucking answer to me, you better kiss my ass, and I say fuck that.
So, on that point...
And that is your thing, but I really like talking to you, but I don't think that you have found out who you want to be.
Fair enough. You have set yourself up for this question.
So this Lance dude, like, literally spends 10 minutes, insulting David, telling him how he hasn't asked any good questions, And word of thumb, dog, if you're in an interview, you don't want to insult your interviewer until after it's over. You don't want to do it while the camera's still rolling, because guess what? He can do what you're saying he's not. He can ask you a good question. And as David just pointed out there, Lance, you really set yourself up for what's coming, because you had Laurence Krauss coming to this convention. And there are questions around Laurence Krauss. And honestly, being an organizer of this convention, being a money backer, out here representing this convention, knowing Laurence Krauss is coming, you might want to be prepared. But I think that he realizes it's going bad. And I think that he might have thought that he was off air when he was insulting David. Because I think he might realize, hey, David never said we're off air, because he's going to ask this question.
Off.
Sorry?
Are we recording this, or is this off?
No, we're still live.
Okay, but the thing is I really like your questions. They're not deep enough.
All right, so he asked him, like, is the camera still on? Are we still rolling? And David informs him that he is still rolling. And it's kind of funny. So he's going to go on and try to pose it a little more politically correct. He's going to try to be nicer than he was before. But the camera was rolling, dude. You were live. We saw it all. And then he's going to go on to insult David again.
Look, this is between me and you and about your 400 viewers.
All right, so let me tell you that this is where I really would have lost my shit. Before we're even getting to the bad part, right? Before David even asks the hard question that this dude was begging for, I would have lost my shit right here. My audience would have lost their shit. You're not going to come into my place and disrespect me. And this is what I like about David, because David doesn't have that. David will take it, and he will set you up, and he will wait for that moment. And I think it's what makes him a great interviewer. And I think that he's got just a glorious future ahead of him interviewing people and doing what he's doing, because I think he's really good at it. But me, as a raging atheist, let me tell you, you all know I would have lost my fucking shit. I appreciate my audience, and I understand that my audience is growing, and I got to put in the work to make it continue to grow. And I appreciate each and every single person that comes in and watches my live streams, even if they're just trolling, even if what they're trolling makes me mad. I appreciate that they're there, And Lance, you are coming on David's podcast to promote your convention. Maybe you shouldn't insult his audience as you do so.
I certainly have questions for them. I do have one pressing question for you.
Way more prepared than you were with me, because you were not prepared with me.
All right, so once again, David's telling him, I have a question for you. And what is this idiot going to do? He's going to insult him again before the interview's over. Like, you haven't done this too much, have you? But all right, so, for the last 10, 15 minutes, Lance has been begging and insulting David to ask a tough question. So David is going to lay the bomb on him. Let's check it out.
I still have one question for you.
Go ahead.
Is it right to platform Laurence Krauss given his sexual assault allegations?
There you are, Lance. There you are. You spent 15 minutes asking for it. So David drops the elbow on that ass and breaks out the question that you, as an organizer of this event, as representing this event, having Laurence Krauss in this event, should be prepared to answer. You should be prepared for this question. You should know that this question will be coming. Let's see how you answer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely? Absolutely is how you answer? Being prepared for this you answer absolutely? That is not the answer you should have gave. The answer you should have gave was, this was a hard decision. We thought about all the elements involved, and we came to the ultimate conclusion that Laurence Krauss should not be punished when he has not been convicted. Or you could have said something along the lines like, Laurence is a great representative. There's allegations out there. Those allegations will go through a legal process. And until that legal process is resolved, we're not going to comment. Or, I'm sure that you have people that could have prepared you with even better answers than that. That was just me thinking off the cuff. I'm sure you should have been better prepared than absolutely. But if absolutely is where you had kept it, it might not have been so bad. Unfortunately, this Lance guy doesn't seem to understand when he should shut up, because he continues.
Absolutely. Please, do not look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Let's look at me and look at you. You have never. Come on. You two. We're guys. And now we're going to talk about this on the guy level. We're not going to talk about this Krauss level. We're going to talk about this guy level. You never got wrong signals?
If you're asked about sexual harassment allegations, your response should never be, "Come on, dude. We're guys. You're gonna tell me you ain't never sexually harassed a woman? I mean, come on, dude. That should not be your fucking response. What kind of a shit show convention is this gonna be if you're gonna put this Lance guy out to represent your convention? I don't get that shit, and if I was any of the speakers, if I was a speaker, I would be demanding to be let go of whatever obligations I am under, given the light of these new circumstances, given the light of the stupidity of this person, given the light of the brazen disregard for a woman's dignity or for a man's actions. If I was Laurence Krauss, I would be face-palming that this man is going to defend me in this way. This is not the message that if I were Laurence Krauss, would want to be getting out there. I would be doing whatever I could to make it up to not only the woman accusing me, but to also make it very, very clear that these actions aren't okay. Now, I'm not going to pretend to know the details of the Laurence Krauss allegations because I don't know how he's responded. I don't care. I've never been a Laurence Krauss fan. The only thing I care about is that the women who are accusing him should be fucking taken seriously. And one thing I fight against is this male mentality that, guys will just be guys, boys will just be boys. It's the way we are. We're perfectly fine to disrespect people. We're perfectly fine to touch them without their permission because we're men, they're women, and that's just how it's always been.
You never got wrong signals from a girl that you thought she likes me, she didn't like you, and you touched her?
I'm speaking specifically more like the...
I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about you personally. Come on, dude. I did it. You did it. Look, come on. We're not the best looking guys in the world.
All right, so right there, Lance basically admits to sexual harassment of women and then tries to put that on David as well. It's like, come on, dude. I've done it. You've done it. You don't know that he's done that. Most of us don't go around sexually harassing women. At least I would hope so. I don't go around sexually harassing women. I don't go around putting my hand on women's knees for any reason, even if she's giving me so-called signals. And I hate this whole signal thing. I do not like that. Signals, what are signals? And are signals okay to justify wrong behavior, to justify indecent behavior? Are signals a reasonable justification to make that woman uncomfortable with your advances? No, they are not. I hate that mentality. I will fight against that mentality because it's just blatantly wrong. Women deserve more respect than that, and you should have more respect than that for your fellow human beings.
I wouldn't be able to specifically point out a moment where I thought they were leading me on. No.
Yeah, I didn't know. Did you know? Come on. When you were 15, 16, 17, did you get the signals? I didn't get them. I have no fucking idea what girls want.
In terms of the signals, no. Typically,
Did you want to kiss?
there aren't those specific signals, no.
Did you want to touch? Seriously, dude? If you didn't get it, I didn't get it either. And Krauss, he's just in the higher highlight.
So a whole lot more talk about signals and like, seriously, dude, you didn't get signals? I didn't get signals. Look at me, I'm an ugly guy. I didn't get any signals, but you didn't get signals? But then he ends it classically. The classic defense of Laurence Krauss is, well, Laurence Krauss lives in a different kind of limelight. Laurence Krauss is famous. You can't understand the position that Laurence Krauss is in because you can't understand his level of fame. Look me in the eye, Lance, and let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck how famous Laurence Krauss is. If he sexually harassed women, he should answer for it. If he didn't sexually harass women, and they are lying against him, then he should prove that. He should prove that. He should sue them for libel. I don't know the details, as I said, and I'm not here raging on Laurence Krauss. Don't know the guy's work too well. Don't know the details of these allegations. I'm here responding to Lance.
That's all it is. They could have nailed me, you, anybody else.
So now, Lance, are you criticizing the Me Too movement? Are you saying that the Me Too movement is just a bunch of oversensitive women accusing everybody of everything? Is that what you're saying, Lance? Are you saying that any day now some woman can point the finger at me and I will have to face these allegations? I just can't believe that because I don't behave in that manner. I give no reason to women to accuse me of those things. I'm actually overly respectful. I do not like being touched myself by anybody, unless like we're very intimate with each other. If you touch me, I am uncomfortable. I might not tell you that I'm uncomfortable, but I'm uncomfortable, and that goes for men, women, anybody.
Sure, I'm very questioning of how it's all happened at once for Neil deGrasse Tyson, for Krauss. Who else was it? Somebody else was. But then there's videos that come out from people like Christina Rad where they end up saying they touched my leg, they turned it around, they grabbed me.
We don't get signals from women. I mean, I'm lucky. Here's the thing. I've been married for 20 years. I got it.
All right, so, right here David brings up Christina Rad and her allegations against Laurence Krauss. And I think that Lance's reaction immediately is weird. Like, check that out. Like, immediately he's like, like he just doesn't really know how to respond. He says something like, oh, you think that women don't send signals? Which is just a ludicrous justification or defense of Laurence Krauss and the sexual harassment allegations surrounding him. But David is giving a specific instance, and we're going to get to that. But first, did you catch what he said there at the end? I find this very cringy. Let's check it out again.
I mean, I'm lucky. Here's the thing. I've been married for 20 years. I got it.
I mean, what does that mean? You've been married for 20 years? I got it. Like, are you seriously like bragging like you've been all up in them guts of your wife for 20 years? Like, I don't get what you mean. It's very cringy. It's very cringy. If I was your wife, I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? But we're getting to the end, guys. This shit is fucking super cringe. I have to keep asking. I have to ask the question that I asked from the very beginning. Should this guy be representing our movement? Should this guy be organizing our conventions? Should this guy have anything at all to do with our conferences or with our messaging? I don't want this dude anywhere near me. Wherever this YouTube thing goes, if I ever consider a conference, if Lance has anything to do with that conference, I would not personally go. And if I was locked into something that had him in, I would demand that either he be removed or my contract be void. And if that didn't happen, well, I would damn well make sure that during my presentation, Lance would be very uncomfortable.
If you didn't kill me, I'm out with a girl. You're out with a girl. She's nice. She's flirting her hair, and you're like, okay, how do you do this? Hello, my name is Lance. I would like to. What do you do? Hand, eye, heart. No, please.
Pretty simple, dude. If you're out with a girl and you're having a good time, you continue to make sure she's having a good time. That might lead to another date. That might lead eventually to some physical contact. The thing you don't want to do is if you think that you're having a good time and you think she's shooting all of these signals, is you don't want to put your hand up her fucking skirt.
Full disclosure. We have went a little bit too far, and Krauss I know personally, and if he put his hand on someone's shoulder, or this guy is the...
The specific claim was putting his hand under her skirt.
I don't know how many times I have put my hand under your skirt, but you didn't bitch once.
I've never met you.
I mean, what does that even mean? That was so weird. That was so weird. Christina Rad accuses Laurence Krauss of putting his hand up her skirt, and your response is, David, I put my hand up your skirt all the time and you didn't bitch once. That is such a weird response. That is just really, really fucking cringy, dude. And it's reprehensible that you think that this is a justification. It's reprehensible that you think that Laurence Krauss would be fine with this.
At the same time, I think in the 80s, I probably put my hand on a few people, and yeah, throw me in jail.
Nobody's saying to throw you in jail. Nobody's saying that. You should be thrown in jail if you commit a crime. If you're found guilty of a crime, you should be thrown in jail. What we are saying is this culture needs to change. This male-dominated culture needs to change. This male view that we can just do whatever we want and it's okay, that we can just touch them because they're women. That's what needs to change. And if you're going to hold this mentality, I don't want you anywhere near my community.
The Christina Rad video came out last year. I don't know exactly when the event happened. It was from this decade.
It's just a lot easier to do it, and I'm the biggest Laurence Krauss fan, but she has her thing, and I think it's good, and it's okay, and I'm sorry, and if I did it, I'm sorry. If I put my hand on her knee, very sorry.
And here we come to the very, like, the weirdest part of the whole interview. The weirdest part. I told you that I thought he had a very strange reaction to Christina Rad's name to begin with. And now we have, is he admitting that he sexually harassed Christina Rad? Is he saying that he did it? Is he worried that maybe he did it? I mean, dude, this was very weird. This was very weird. And I wonder how your wife would feel about you being worried that maybe you put your hand on a much younger woman than yourself. You know, I just find that weird. I'm a 42-year-old dude. You know, I'm going to be very careful about touching a young 20-something-year-old, either male or woman. I'm going to be very careful about touching anybody. You should not touch people unless you have permission to do so. You should respect their space. You should respect their dignity. You should respect them as human beings enough not to invade them and make them uncomfortable. But ultimately, I don't think that that's a crime, outside of just being a douchebag. What's a crime here is your justification and you being in a position of authority and power. And, you know, I'm not for cancel culture. I'm not. But I am for exposure. And you need to be exposed. And you've been thoroughly exposed by bigger people than myself. And we will continue to talk about this because it's not okay.
If he did his hand, I'm very sorry. The 80s, 90s were little time. We weren't very persuasive, but today we won't do it. I think Laurence has been falsely punished. And, I mean, just saying something and putting your hand on somebody's knee, and then it's easier 14 years later to say he put his hand on my skirt. I'm not trying to be Donald Trump on this thing. I'm just saying, yeah.
All right, so that was the last clip. That was the last clip, thankfully. And just so much cringe packed into there. For one, he's saying, like, you know, this mentality like Republicans say when women came out against Roy Moore all those years ago, or when women came out against Donald Trump, and it was all those years ago. It doesn't even matter because it happened so long ago. Like, I'm a reborn Christian now, right? Like, no, fuck that shit. Fuck that mentality. You know, and that's not even the truth. Christina Rad is a young woman. I don't think it took her 14 years to come out with that. I think it was a lot sooner than that. But he's trying to paint this narrative to pretty much put the blame on Christina Rad for waiting so long to talk about it, that it's her fault. And it's not her fault. It's not. If it happened, it would have been Laurence Krauss's fault. Laurence Krauss would have held all the power there. Laurence Krauss would be responsible for that, not Christina Rad. You know, and this whole mentality that the 80s and 90s were so long ago, that's ancient history, and those were different times. Guess what, motherfucker? That wasn't that long ago. I was born in 1977, and I was raised to respect women. This isn't about the 80s and 90s. This is about your fucking parenting and how you was fucking raised and how you see women. You know, I have raged a lot on this channel. I rage sometimes when I should. I rage sometimes when I shouldn't. This is a time that rage is needed. And I'm glad I got it out because this was disgusting. And I have to ask again, is this the person you want representing your conference, your convention, your movement, whatsoever? Because it's not mine. It's not mine. But I'm going to calm down. I'm going to have a stream this Sunday about this issue. David Worley will be on that stream. Scientist Mel will be coming on. And AR and Callan and Ali will be there. And we're going to have a discussion about this issue, about this dude Lance, and about consent. And I really hope you join us. I'm not sure what time it's going to be, but it will be Sunday. Tune in for that. I've gotten my rage out. Now it's time to talk about this logically. And it's time to talk about this culture that we need to shift. As always, I'm your boy Nakasuchi. This is A Raging Atheist. If you like my videos, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. I'll see you soon.